What's good, guys? Welcome back to another crime story. So today we're going to be talking about the unsolved crime story of Sharon Jones, who was 21 years of age at the time, and she went to Elizabeth City State University in North Carolina. The evening of March 4th, 1984, Sharon returned back to Elizabeth City State University after visiting her family in Moorpark, North Carolina. It was the start of spring break for the college, but Sharon was back at campus because she had some requirements she needed to do in order to fulfill her graduation requirements. She was set to graduate that May in 1984. Planning to graduate as an education major and commitment to her community, she had already had a teaching job lined up. Arriving back on campus around 9:30 p.m., Sharon spoke to the assistant housing director, Herbert Williams, and his cousin Adrian Douglas in order to get access to the all-female dormitory. The dormitory was located on the south side of the campus, also known as the Mitchell-Lewis Dormitory, and it was a 3-floor building that housed only females. So Sharon had told Williams that there was a light flashing from the second-floor dormitory window. Williams and Douglas would escort Sharon to the dormitory, and that's when they went to go investigate the light. The light came from another young woman's dormitory who didn't have any relation or correlation to Sharon. Angela Davis was 22, and she was also staying on campus to fulfill some other requirements that she had as well. Both girls were supposed to be moved on Monday to another dormitory where other individuals were to make it, a little bit more safer for them. But sadly, that day would not come for Sharon Jones. The following morning, around 8:35, Jones' naked body was found. Sharon was found face down naked. Body was found by the dormitory supervisor that morning, located in room 125. And what's crazy is she had a belt wrapped around her neck, which was connected to a bedpost. The supervisor went to this particular room or floor because he had seen that there was broken glass outside of the dormitory. Police had believed that around midnight, someone broke into the dormitories. The autopsy report showed that Sharon died from strangulation. She also had blunt force trauma to her face, and the sexual assault came back inconclusive, but they do believe that she most likely was raped because she was naked and face down along with the cloth belt wrapped around her neck. This did show that there was some sort of a struggle in room 125, especially being as though that there was glass broken from the outside of that particular room. Bloodstained dumbbell was actually found by police. It was found under one of the beds in that room. As the case begins to unfold, the detective on the case believed that there was not a motive for rape or sexual assault, but more so malicious or jealousy intent when it came to the killing of Sharon Jones. As this rush of judgment became a pondering theory, investigation began to look at Angela Davis, the previous girl that also was living in that same dormitory around the same time as Sharon Jones. Angela Davis' boyfriend, Entree Tavern, also known as T, who was 31 years of age, was on a 14-day suspension. Had been concerned of inappropriate behavior regarding students, especially at the Mitchell dormitory. And according to the police report he gave, he stayed at the dormitory that night but left around 7 a.m. Travon and Angela stated that around 11:30 that night, someone knocked on their door asking weird questions. They asked the questions of, what is your name? Can I know your name? And they basically didn't answer those questions to the individual on the other side, and the person left their door alone. At around midnight, Angela left her dorm room because she had a shift that she had to do for security. In all, there was about 40 people who were interviewed when it came to the murder of Sharon Jones. Half a dozen of those individuals did complete a lie detector test. They also collected blood and hair samples along with fingerprints. None of those came to be any incriminating evidence to those they had interviewed. According to Robert Walker, he was the editor of the newspaper on campus. He stated that the university didn't have enough or they weren't equipped to deal with something of this nature. And as students began to come back to campus, because you have to think about it, Sharon was killed during spring break. A lot of the students started to point fingers as to who killed Sharon. And Walker basically states that this created a lot of rift on the campus, and that the leadership basically tried to control the narrative of everything that has been happening. At the end of March of 1984, the police chief basically says that they won't give up. They will be reinvestigating or interviewing any witnesses or people, but the case went cold. To add insult to everything that has been going on, Sharon Jones' sister, Lisa Jones, receives a phone call on the day of Sharon's funeral. And this phone call was so weird because the person called and said that they were sorry they killed the wrong Sharon Jones. By coincidence, Sharon Jones actually knew another Sharon Jones at this university. And Lisa, she basically kept this information to herself for a period of time. And then she did go to the police in 2005. And when she went to the police, she basically says that the police basically berated her, and she got truly emotional as if Sharon was, re-killed because the way they mistreated her. In 2013, the police department stated that they will reopen the case because there was a lot of advances in DNA. The Jones family was not contacted about the reopening and reinvestigation of this case. And from what I read, there was nothing new that came out from the new investigation, and there was no new information provided by the police. I wonder who killed Sharon on that night. It makes you think, because there wasn't a lot of people on campus that fateful night. Of course, only Angela, her boyfriend, and then you have the Williams and the Douglas character. Nonetheless, someone knows something, especially being as though there wasn't that many people on campus at this time. Someone knows something. Someone had to run their mouth. And hopefully one day soon, DNA testing can break this case open. Pretty much the case of Sharon Jones. It is still unsolved, and there has not been any new leads pertaining to her murder.